Hi guys, I'm just wondering actually whether I turn this speaker off, whether you can hear me okay. I probably should make sure my headset is off. This is how I walk and talk. This is how I do my walk and talk. I'm always learning something. It's off. I'm always trying to learn something, so I often go for a walk with my headset on. I'm always clean. If I cared enough to clean, I have a headset on. So I'm always learning something new, listening to something that I'm interested in. Obviously, usually around the positivity and mindset type work, because that's really important to me, and it's important for me to teach others how to use that, and because I think there's skills, they're life skills that we all need, right? So I wanted to just drop in here and talk to you about something that, I saw in a group today and I thought was relevant to everybody, like pretty much. And it's about, not eating after dinner, or trying to stop the emotional stress eating that's going on at the moment. And, we've all had our fair share, and I tend to not panic too much about that stuff. I tend to not give it any power. So I just wanted to give you a couple of tips that I thought would help if that is something that it bothers you, and I know it does for everybody. And it is that power thing, is giving it power, and it's not even the act of having the thing. It's actually the issue around how you feel about it, and how you feel about yourself, how you talk to yourself, what you do about it after that, right? And I've always said it's only an issue if it's causing you an issue. But I think if you're following diet culture thinking and you've done it for years, then you're going to feel bad about having something after dinner. You're going to feel bad about eating something, right? So how can we kind of, when I'm coaching women, I try and work on taking away that power of how that would feel, and give you a more of a positive outlook around that whole thing, and have no power over it, right? So if you're going to spend your whole night trying to avoid eating chips on the couch, for instance, right, then what a waste of friggin' energy for a start. Just have the chips or limit it, put it in a little bowl. Like, there's practical things you can do, and there's also other things you can do, like planning, having strategies for distracting yourself. But I'd rather it not be a thing at all. So I do kind of teach women that to not have power in that, and to not make that a thing at all, right? So if you were going to sit down and make it a nurturing routine, so typically it's tied to a trigger of some sort. So it might be that you're exhausted, you haven't eaten enough during the day, maybe you've already had dinner. It's not that you're actually hungry, you're actually bored, or you're stressed, or you're emotional, or you're lonely. It's tied to something else, right? So what is it that we can do to change what it's tied to, and the habit that it's tied to? Because that is the real problem for a lot of women. It's the actual emotional side of things that's driving that whole habit. And it's not that you care that much. And you could have a few blocks of chocolate, you can have some chips, but maybe we just have to be a bit more mindful of the portion size, and not finish off like a whole 250 block family block, or a whole bag of chips. Maybe you have to meter it out into a bowl or something else, right? Or make it as part of what I tend to do with clients. And I don't want to tell you the how, because that I do and I don't. Like, it is something that women need to work through, and I want to take the guilt and the shame away from that. And it takes a bit of time and practice. So it's not one thing that you can just pick up a tip and do it. You have to practice it. And I help women with that a lot, because that's a common thing. The emotional side is probably the biggest thing that you work on, right? As far as regulating and managing and understanding where it's coming from, and the awareness around that. But what I want to say about planning the dessert, planning the after dinner, just having a plan. So what I was going to say about that is nurturing. So if you had a little routine, so instead of having a routine where you sit on the couch and watch telly because you're friggin' so tired and exhausted and upset or lonely, whatever it is, if you had a routine instead of that is usually based around that negative emotion and just mindlessness, if you like, being mindlessness about it, having just a mindless behavior, that it's actually more planned out, and it's more of a nurturing experience, and it's more about feeling good and self-care. And so it's kind of like flipping it on its head and having a totally different outlook or perspective about what it's going to do for you. And rather than being a negative experience that you have to feel bad about and not eat the next day because you couldn't stop eating the whole packet or whatever it is, right? It's not making it mean something about you, number one, and not making it mean anything at all, actually, right? So again, these things take practice, and usually I handhold a little bit for clients that have this going on with them, and we talk about this in our groups, talk about it in the membership, we talk about it in my coaching. It's part of getting back into your control, right? Feeling in control, not getting back your control, but feeling more in control, which I think is another reason why we do these things, because we feel like we're out of control, but we kind of just don't know what else to do. So we just keep doing the same thing as we always do. So if you want to talk more about that, let me know. If you're struggling with these kinds of things, there is a reason why it's happening. So let's find out what that reason is and try and give you some strategies around how you can tweak it. And that's the other thing we can do, is tweak it to being a healthier option, so it doesn't have any guilt. Write down all the foods that you're allowed to eat after dinner. No, actually, I'll take that word out. Get rid of the allowed, right? Give yourself permission to have... because you're allowed to eat whatever you fucking like. Like this, it's that whole bullshit diet thing coming back, you know, like it's everywhere. You're allowed to eat anything, right? It's up to you. What do you want to eat? How do you feel? Follow your instincts. That doesn't necessarily mean you want to finish off a whole pizza by yourself, but it does mean, or eat toast. Like a lot of women are actually under eating. So they're exhausted, so they're under eating. They're actually eating less nourishment, and they're eating toast for dinner. You know, like there's a whole spectrum of what might be happening for women. It's not just eating lollies or whatever, or chocolate. It's not cliche like eating the tub of ice cream. You know, it can be a whole range of things, and usually it's going without depriving, not eating enough good food, and not feeling love, you know, self-love, not doing self-care. So there's a whole range of things happening around food, around emotional eating, around stress eating. It's not necessarily overeating, it's sometimes under-eating, and not taking care of ourselves, right? Not going to bed early enough, so you're just sort of a zombie on the couch watching Netflix. Yeah, what is going on for you? And that's what we might be able to help you with. Well, not might be able to, I can help you with. So this is a lifetime, I call this lifetime value too, by the way. These skills are repeatable. They're not just something that you learn and then you can't do. They're practiced. You can do them anytime, you can repeat them. Once you learn how to deal with this stuff, it's not even an issue anymore, and you've taken the power away for it and given it back to yourself. Because you have control, like you've always got control of what you do. So yeah, if you want to know any more about that, or you want to talk to me about that, just message me. So I just thought I'd talk about that because I saw it in a group today, and I think the lady was looking for, wasn't my group, it was someone else's, looking for ways to stop eating after 7. Now, my experience is anything you are trying to stop doing, it will just be a negative experience, right? It's easier to tweak, swap, plan ahead, create strategies around it rather than stop, because that's just silly, right? You don't have to stop. If you're doing that, you're giving it way too much power, and it also means that you feel like you can't do it yourself. Yeah, so let's just get rid of all that stupid shit and all that shame and guilt around eating after dinner, or stress eating, emotional eating. Stress eating is probably a little different. Again, we need strategies to lower the stress so that it's not a thing again and we take the power away. But using comfort for food, food for comfort, it means you need something. Let's give you what you need, other than just using the food or the wine or the chocolate or the ice cream or whatever it is, right? But I always say it's not a thing unless it's an issue for you. Tell me what it's causing. That's what I want to know, right? What is it causing for you? Yes, it can add to the weight gain, but it's probably not the thing, right? It's not the thing that's causing it. But it might be making you very unhappy, or you are already unhappy, which is why you're doing that thing. So does that make sense? I hope that does. I'm just out walking the doggy. So I hope you're having a nice day, and I will talk to you soon. I hope that makes sense. Okay, bye.